God of War, Volume 1, Episode 1. I, Deep Qian. Enthusiasm for extreme exercise. 3 years ago, when climbing to the top of Mount Emi, mistakenly entered the secret cave, obtained Qian then Tu Luke, 9 paintings of War God 2 entered the brain, each of which contained a layer of scenes. War world. Unfortunately, I was born in a kingdom of martial arts. Martial arts declined, and the legendary martial arts were all lost. I obtained it War God 2 Luke, studied it carefully for 3 years, and finally entered the first realm of war intentions. However, in modern society, there is no land to use martial arts. Recently, it is rumored that Wudang Peak has ancient relics of the world, buried Vo Dao Chan Kin. Want to go to find out the truth? I Deep Qian has no father, no mother, no love, searching for the truth of martial arts is a lifelong wish. This trip is more or less good, I will not worry. As luckily alive, Hua Sha is sure to learn martial arts and promote great glory. If you are unfortunate enough to leave yourself, in heaven and earth, there will be no Yi Qian. Deep Qian, Great Pen. Ancient World. Tui Van Tong, 9 Products Sect. In the entire wild ancient world, Tui Van Tong can only be considered as a sect that does not enter the stream, but in the east region of Tu Hai Fu, Tui Van Tong is one of the 3 schools of 2 sects, 1 gate, but is considered a resounding power. Tui Van Tong's back is Sun Lam Demon Beast. The area reaches more than 1,000 acres. The central land is the residence of the high-class sect and its core disciples, while the peripheral area is the place where outer disciples are located. Death stayed. Winter is coming. The sun is high. The place where the outer disciple lived was in a secluded place in the courtyard. A 15 or 16-year-old boy sat cross-legged on the bed in his room, eyes widening, in a daze. Am I from Hua Deep Qian, or am I a descendant of the Deep Jia in the wild ancient world, the outer sect of the outer sect, Deep Qian's disciple? A teenager named Deep Qian, who was born in the area of the wild ancient world, descends from the small family of Deep Jia in Tu Hai Fu, and is also a disciple of the Shui Yunzong outer gate. However, inside Yi Qian's mind, there is another memory, also called Yi Qian, a Chinese, born in a void martial era. 3 years ago, with a passion for extreme exercise, Yi Qian climbed Emi Mountain to the most dangerous slope, slipped and fell down the cliff, but accidentally entered a secret place. Following the exploration of the secret cave, Yi Zan finally entered a huge palace with a grand and dignified atmosphere. The top of the palace depicts the heavenly star statues, like the immense blue sky. Under the painting Tin Tuong, 9 paintings of nothingness and blur are floating. 9 drawings, depicting 9 statues of war gods. Either sit cross-legged, or stand upright, or raise the halberd of the sky, or stoop to heaven and earth. On the body of each god of war, there is a mysterious aura that cannot be described or described. Deep Qian's body inside the mysterious palace, in front of his eyes, 9 pictures of War God 2 were constantly flashing. In the end, Yi Zan's eyes darkened and he completely fell into a coma. When he woke up again, Deep Qian discovered that he was back at the foot of Mount Emi. At the same time, Yi Zan suddenly discovered that he had discovered this huge palace in the secret cave, and didn't know what was going on, and ran into his own mind. As soon as he closed his eyes, Yi Qian seemed to move his body into the palace, and the 9 War God 2 paintings in front of his eyes kept flashing. The giant palace ran into his mind again, which made Yi Zan shocked and doubtful. After he returned, he rummaged through all kinds of ancient books, trying to explain the mutation that occurred on his body. In the end, Deep Qian got an answer that he could hardly believe. Mysterious Palace, named War God Temple. This is a mysterious palace that exists within the otherworldly space, which only the predestined can find. 9 War God 2 paintings are floating inside the War God Temple, forming a set of supreme martial arts secrets War God 2 Luke, each of which contains a layer of war spirit realm, a total of 9 levels. War will. Each time the fighting spirit increased by 1 level, the power of the martial arts practiced by the martial artist doubled. If you can reach the 9th level of the battle will, increase the power of the practice by 512 times. Even though he cultivates a set basic inner gong, his power can be compared to 9 yin, 9 yang. It can be said that War God 2 Luke is the highest secret that every martial artist is searching for all his life. Yi Qian wanted to exercise to the limit, loved to challenge himself to the limit. In order to make Yi Qian extremely excited, he made a vow to find the limit of martial arts. Only regret is, Yi Qian lived in a void martial age, powerful martial arts in the legend, all lost. Yi Qian spent 3 years, comprehending the first War God 2 painting, cultivating the first level of battle intention, but he had no land to use martial arts. Finally, Deep Chien heard that Wudang Peak had an ancient relic in the world, in which the existence of martial law Gong Fa could exist, so he defiantly went forward regardless of the danger. Unfortunately, when climbing the most dangerous cliff, Deep Chien slipped and fell down the mountain, depressed. When he woke up again, Deep Chien discovered that he had come to the ancient world. The city was an outer sect disciple of Tui Van Tong. Is Trang Chu dreaming, or is it still dreaming of Trang Chu? Frigid it. The confusion in Deep Chien's eyes gradually dissipated, and his eyes became extremely determined. In my previous life, I struggled to find the truth of martial arts, but I didn't get anything. I regret it for the rest of my life. This life, God gives me another chance. I need to step up to the highest martial arts peak. With a shout, Yi Zan clenched his fists tightly. After the inner entanglement was no longer entangled, Deep Chien began to recall some of his life situations. Deep Chien, descendant of the small family of Deep Jia in Tu Hai Fu, is the son of the owner of the Deep Jia family. Wild ancient world is a world of martial arts that proliferate endlessly, and the powerful martial artist is extremely important to any family. 2 years ago, Deep Chien was taken to Tui Van Tong, becoming a disciple of Tui Van Tong outer sect, shouldering the family's expectations, hoping to one day cultivate successfully, becoming an inner disciple. Tui Van Tong was even a core disciple, eventually leading the Deep family to rise. After practicing for 2 years, Yi Zan's martial arts realm reached the 7th level of qi condensation, and his achievements were not bad. Tui Van Tong outer sect has several thousand disciples. With Deep Chien's rank, he can firmly enter the top 50. At most, in about 2 years, Deep Chien hopes to attack Thong Q Gun, and become a member of several hundred inner disciples of Tui Van Tong. 1 day ago, was Tui Van Tong's day once a month, the outer disciple, end of the month of competition. Because this time at the end of the competition month, Deep Chien prepared for a long time, full of hope that he could have a breakthrough and attack the top 30 outer sect disciples. Only regret is that, in a battle between 64 and 32, Yi Chien was defeated by another outer sect disciple named Lam Fong, even being hit on the head by the opponent's palm, directly fainting, regretfully stopped at the top 64. When he woke up again, inside Deep Chien's head, he had more memories of his previous life. What about Lam Fong? Deep Chien carefully pondered this name, frowning slightly. The one Lam Fong defeated himself, Deep Chien was a little impressed, was the descendant of the Lam family. The Lin family and the Yi family are both a small family of Zihai Palace. The headquarters family lives in the same city, belongs to a competitive relationship. The two families often have a little bit of friction. Lam Fong is the son of the owner Lam Jia, the same age as Deep Chien is about, similarly worshipping at Tui Van Tong. The city is a disciple of the outer sect, and the cultivation base is also not much with Deep Chien. In the past, Deep Chien and Lam Fong also often quarreled, even arguing about the table. Deep Chien lost more or less. However, this time at the end of the month of competition, Lin Feng did not know what to do. His cultivation increased like the wind, and entered the 9th level of qi condensation, surpassing Yi Zan by 2 sub-stages, at the end of the battle. In the end, Deep Chien was defeated by the enemy. The sect discussed, the destination stopped, but Lin Feng attacked the weak spot at the top of my head, almost trying to put me to death, a bit too cruel. Deep Chien frowned, a bit angry in his heart. Although Lam Fong is just a minor character, after all, he is a direct competitor of Yi Chien, and his cultivation level is also 1 level higher than that of Yi Chien. With such an opponent, Deep Chien also felt every ray of pressure. This, Lin Feng, you need to be more careful in the future. Deep Chien said quietly. Knowing others and knowing me, knowing the enemy, knowing me, 100 battles 100 wins. First investigate the cultivation situation of my body. In the future, as long as I steadily increase my strength, let alone just a Lam Fong, whatever opponent, I am not afraid at all. Deeply thinking, Yi Zan sat down cross-legged, preparing to check his own cultivation situation. Young master. As soon as Yi Zan finished sitting, he heard a clear voice coming from the house. At the end of the month of competition, the young master this time, although he was defeated by Lam Fong, did not enter the 32nd place, but the end result in the top 34, which is not far from the goal of the top 30 of the young master, is not far away. Where, with a creak, the room door opened, and a girl in a pajamas entered. The comedian was estimated to be 13 or 14 years old, with a petite body, a pair of large shining eyes. Tiula. Deep Chen's heart moved slightly, remembering that this little girl named Tiula was her own concubine. At the end of the competition month, one day before the end, today the final ranking will appear. Just now Tiula obviously went to the center of the sect to check the rankings of the new outer disciples. Deep Qian glanced at Tiuli's face, suddenly found that the left cheek of Tiula was slightly red, vaguely there was a handprint. Although her face was dancing, she could not hide the tears in the corners of her eyes, as if she had just cried. Shaola, what happened to your hand on your face? Blushing, Deep Qian directly asked a question. Comparing his ranking situation, Deep Qian is obviously more interested in Tiuli's concubine. Missing. Young master. Being swept by Deep Qian's eyes, Tiula instinctively retracted her head. Yes. Is Lam Fong's maidservant Tiu Tui. She said that the young master was knocked unconscious by Lam Fong, not worthy of ranking in the top 34 of the outer disciples. The slave couldn't help but argued with her a few sentences, and she was hit with a slap. And then said that after seeing a servant once, he hit once. The more Tiula spoke, the more unjustly she felt. Her eyes reddened, her small mouth tried to purse her lips tightly, trying not to cry. It's Lam Fong again. Yi Zan's face was gloomy, and the anger in his heart had increased. The first is not to pay attention to the brotherhood. Inside the end of the month of competition, palm the weak spot on the top of the head of Deep Qian, wanting to bring Deep Qian to his death. Currently, she is tolerating the maidservant and slapping the maidservant Tiula of Deep Qian. This Lam Fong, it can be said that from time to time, challenges Yi Chen's extreme patience. Bully me, otherwise it's okay. Even my concubine and maidservant were implicated and bullied by you. Can't help but be so disrespectful. Deep Chen's face was gloomy. Where are Tiula, Lam Fong and his maidservant Tiu Tui now? Taking a deep breath, suppressing the anger in his heart, Deep Qian calmly opened his mouth and asked Tiula for the direction of his master and servant Lam Fong. Tiula was stunned, and instinctively replied. This time the outer disciple ranked. Lam Fong ranked 8th, the first time broke into the top 10, now he should be with a few fellow disciples. Let's go to the Mon Fai cafeteria to drink wine to celebrate. Tiu Tui must have followed Lam Fong. The Mon Fai cafeteria. Dipper thought for a moment. Tui Van Tong Mon Fai canteen is located near the center of the square. Inside the restaurant has a separate room. Tui Van Tong's disciples gather, all go to the Mon Fai cafeteria. Celebrate drinking, at least an hour. In other words, within an hour, Lin Feng didn't leave the sects canteen. Deep Qian mumbled and grumbled. 1 hour, enough time. Deep Qian said, looking straight at Tiula with both eyes. Wait for me for an hour, after an hour, for you to regain justice. The words were low and firm, and slowly came out from Yi Zan's mouth. Tiula was stunned. She did not have time to open her mouth, but saw Deep Qian directly close his eyes, sit down cross-legged, as if entering a state of cultivation. Tiula looked at Deep Qian in amazement. In his impression, his family's young master was normally quiet, although he did not think it was bad for himself, but he never showed a fierce and domineering face. But just now, Tiula could feel that Deep Qian's temperament seemed to have changed in a landslide. Like a tyrant army, everyone beside her could not be violated. Looking at Deep Qian in front of her eyes, Tiula felt a warm feeling in her heart. With a part of her strength, there was an extra sense of security. Yi Zan at this time, the change in mood for Tiula did not detect a single point. He put all his energy into examining his own cultivation. Knowing people know me, knowing the enemy know me, hundreds of battles and hundreds of victories, Deep Qian has just passed through, must have an overall understanding of his own cultivation level, then he will definitely be with Lam Fong. Touch. I practice, it seems to be the basic practice of Tui Van Tong Tui Van Quit. Deep Qian examined the true qi in his body, and discovered that the true qi in his body was like water, extremely mild, and it was true qi Tui Van Quit. In the practice in the wild ancient world, divided into 4 ranks of heaven, earth, Huyan, and Huang, Tui Van Quit belongs to the middle grade Hoang method. Within the 9-grade Shui Yun sect, there have been it seems that the basis of the practice is relatively high. Lin Fong's cultivation was originally Tui Van Quit. He can only practice to the 3rd level, not much stronger than me. However, in the last month, his cultivation base increased like the wind, and he stepped in again. The 9th layer of qi condensation, this is a bit strange. Right. A month ago, I remember that he once entered the Demon Beast Mountain to practice, and finally returned safely. When he returned to this sect, he looked happy, as if he had a great harvest. Could it be said, in the Demon Beast Mountain, he had a huge harvest? One day ago, I fought with him. The last move he deployed, the Truc Co carried in the palm of his hand, seemed to be not Truc Co Tui Van Quit. Could it be that he was in the Demon Beast Mountain and acquired a new martial art technique? Thinking of this, Yi Zan suddenly came to his senses. In the last month, Lin Feng was growing up like the wind. Practicing martial arts techniques seems to have changed. Thinking of him entering the Demon Beast Mountain a month ago, having a harvest, Yi Zan immediately guessed that Lin Feng was in the Demon Beast Mountain, and it is very likely that he can obtain a powerful cultivation technique. Yes, it's a high-grade emperor technique. The exercise that can make Lin Feng stay in a short compartment within a month of getting out of his body. It seems that in Deep Qian, it is likely to be a high-grade Huang level exercise. Compared to Tui Van Quit, one level high. Deep Qian's cultivation is the middle-grade Hoang grade Tui Van Quit, which Lam Fong cultivates, but is the high-grade Huang level practice. Deep Qian is in absolute weakness. Just by looking at the practice, Deep Qian wanted to reversely defeat Lam Fong, which was almost impossible. The factor that determines the strength of a martial artist, one is the level of cultivation, the other is the level of the cultivation technique, and the other is martial skills, actual combat experience. Deep Qian thought in his heart. On his cultivation level, his own Qi condensation realm 7 levels, not comparable to Lin Feng Qi condensation 9 layers. In terms of practice, Tui Van Quit is also not comparable to Lam Fong's royal high-grade Gong practice. As for martial skills and combat experience, Yi Zan's soul just passed through, which is still unfamiliar to this current body, and the actual combat experience is almost zero. From any point of view, Yi Chen's attempt to defeat Lin Feng is almost impossible. Determining the martial artist's strength, it seems that there is another factor. Fighting will. Deep Chen's eyes sparkled. He checked his own memories in the wild ancient world, and suddenly discovered that, in the wild ancient world, there was also the existence of war will. The will to fight was only the martial artist inside fighting and killing. Entering a special state, the battle will is strong, then the fighting strength is strong, the battle will is weak, but the fighting strength is weak. The internal records War God 2 Luke are the same. Each time you increase a level of battle will, the power of the exercises is directly doubled. Entering the second stage of fighting will, the power of the practice is 4 times. The third level of fighting, the power of the practice is 8 times. The only difference is, Do Luke there are 9 pictures of War God 2, recording 9 major battle intentions. But in the wild ancient world, the fighting spirit, it's basically not up to the 9 trongs, but the highest is only 3 floors. 9 major battle intentions, distinguished as War will rise up, War will transformation, War will heaven, War will thunder yin, War will transformation, War will condensed God, War will Kimthen, War will Thong Thien, Qian heaven do earth. In the wild ancient world, there are only 3 realms of War will rising, War will Wak Huang, and War will heaven. The power of the exercises is enhanced 8 times at most. Having the ability to reach the level of War will, in addition to the exceptional talent outside, there is only the ultimate great power. The entire Tu Hai Palace, even if there is a sect master level in the 3 sects, 2 sects, 1 sect, may not have the ability to comprehend the first level of the battle will. At the peak of Thien Qiu in the entire eastern region, he was able to master the will of war, and entered the first layer of the battle will, the realm of the rising of the will. Only a few holy lands of great power can be understood in the second layer of the battle will in the ancient world. Until the third level of battle will. Only a few legendary powerhouses, such as war kings, martial gods, demons, and blood emperors, can reach this realm. It can be said that in the wild ancient world, war will belongs to an absolute luxury, only a few Thien Qiu and Dai Nong can hold. War will, is it a luxury item? Deep Chen's eyes shined. Tu Haifu is the rank of 5 great sect masters, and it is not certain that he understands the will of war, let alone an ordinary disciple of the 5 great sects. Yi Qian dared to conclude that his opponent, Lin Feng, certainly did not understand the will of war. But yourself. Early in his previous life, he understood the first level of battle intention. The fighting spirit of the previous life was enlightened. I don't know if it can still be used in this life. On the other hand, my soul passed through. I don't know if the War God Temple in the other end, the 9 War God 2 paintings inside the War God Temple, still exist. Thinking of this, Yi Zan did not delay, immediately closed his eyes, and tried to find the traces of War God Temple in his mind. You are listening to Stories at Audio Good Stories. Subscribe to the channel to support me. God of War. Yi Zan closed his eyes and silently read these 3 words in his heart. roaring. For a moment, Deep Qian only felt dizzy, and in an instant, the world was spinning. Stable. Yi Zan forcefully gritted his teeth and stabilized his mood. But in the next instant, Yi Zan woke up to discover that he was actually inside a very large, mysterious and dignified palace. On the top of the head, the star lies densely, all over the body, 9 paintings of Qian then 2 surround. Entering War God Temple. My soul passed through. Didn't expect this War God Temple. I was also brought to the ancient world. Deep Qian was both surprised and delighted. The Temple of War is still there, which means that Yi Qian can still learn 9 War God 2 paintings, increasing his own level of fighting spirit. It also means that Deep Qian can rely on the 9 great war intentions hidden inside the War God 2. In this wild ancient world, the highest fighting spirit is only up to the 3rd floor. 3 layers of battle will, the power of the practice increased 8 times. But the battle will of 9 Truong, but 512 times. The difference in it, like a creek. Of course, although inside the Temple of War, there are 9 paintings of War God 2, containing 9 great war intentions, but Yi Qian also needs to understand a few paintings. Wanting to enter the realm of the 9th level of battle will is not an overnight thing. Shout. Quote. Exhaling a long breath, Deep Qian gave up his thoughts and looked at 9 War God 2 paintings. Inside the 9 pictures of War God 2, there are 8 paintings that are semi-transparent, nothingness is blurred, only one set is still real. In the picture of War God standing proudly, reaching out his right hand, slashing the spear frame, make the picture look very alive. This is the first War God map, which contains the first layer of fighting intent, war will rise. The other War God map is vaguely visible, only one anomaly is clear. This signifies that Yi Zan has thoroughly understood this War God map and holds the first layer of battle intention. I don't think that the battle will that was held in the previous life can also be used in this life. Try to see the power of the first layer of battle will. Yi Zan thought for a moment, his soul left the Temple of War and returned to himself. Opening his eyes, Yi Zan was still sitting cross-legged on the bed. Just entered the Temple of War, the soul entered, and it had nothing to do with the body. War will rise. With a sudden shout in his heart, Yi Zan entered the first level of battle will. CO. A second later, Yi Zan felt that in the depths of his mind, an illusory image of a war god was flying out. It was this powerful war god in the first War God 2 painting that struck Kang Kwang. This illusory image of the war god, XO, came a little, and directly integrated into Yi Qian's body. Yi Zan's aura suddenly changed. One moment it was still an ordinary teenager with his eyes closed to meditate, the next moment he transformed into a god of war. Inside the body, every place of flesh and blood, every inch of bone, there is an endless amount of war intent rising out. Boom boom, boom boom. In the body of Truc Tui Van Quit was originally like a small stream flowing slowly down, a second later it became extremely violent, like a large river. Deep Qian instinctively gently swings his fist. The air in the body is raised, the air friction, of course, the explosion sounds like nothing. The power of the cultivation technique has indeed doubled. Yi Qian was extremely surprised in his heart. The characteristic of Truc Tui Van Quit is mild and stable, cultivating to the highest level of the 7th layer, it is not certain that it can make an explosion. And just now, when Yi Zan waved his fist, he hit a yin violently. Obviously, this is the power of the practice technique multiplied, the reason for the true qi to become powerful in an instant. In the past life, although Yi Qian also entered the realm of war will rise, but because he has never practiced any martial Dao Gong Fa, he has not understood any special effects at all. The power of this multiplicity of law. But in this life, Deep Qian cultivated Tui Van Quit accumulated a certain amount of true qi in his body. Now entering the realm of Qian will up, immediately can clearly feel, Tui Van Quit's power increased on a large scale. The will of war increases by 1 layer each time, the power of the cultivation technique is doubled, this is absolutely not an exaggeration, but a kind of real great effect, half a point of weakness is absent. Entering the realm of the first level of battle will, the power of the exercises is doubled, even if I practice only at the middle grade Hoang level Tui Van Quit in the face of Lin Feng who practices the Huang level high grade exercise, it will not work. Scary at all. At this moment, Yi Zan's heart is full of strength. Young master. But when Deep Qian entered the first level war will realm, war will rises, next to Tiula was terrified and almost cried out in fear. She could clearly feel that Yi Zan's temperament instantly changed, causing a landslide. Previously, Yi Zan was extremely gentle, and in an instant, suddenly changed his fighting spirit. Tiula has never met a human martial artist with the ability to reach such a terrifying state. In Tiuli's memory, it seems that only Ti Shui Ma Lang inside the Sun Lamb demon beast, facing a strong enemy siege, bloody and fighting, even when he is about to die, the state of madness counterattacks can be spared. Forced with the current Deep Qian to equate with each other. She didn't understand at all why the young master was usually so gentle, how could he suddenly enter such a terrifying state? Fortunately, Deep Qian, although Qian Ying was up, did not show any hostility or offensive intentions towards Tiula, which made Tiula a little bit relieved. Duh. Deep Qian did not pay attention to Tiuli's frightened expression. One hand pushed the other, he floated down from the bed, his feet firmly fell to the ground. Taking 2 deep breaths, Yi Zan temporarily escaped from the state of war intent rising. The aura of battle outside the body quickly dissipated, and Yi Zan returned to normal. Confirming that he can enter the first level of war willpower, Yi Zan's heart seems to have more strength. It's less than an hour, so Lam Fong is still at the Mon Fai restaurant or near the center of the square. Judging by the time, from the beginning of cultivation to the present, less than an hour has passed. Let's go. Deep Qian chatted with Tiula for an hour. Come with me to the center of the sect square. I also want to see if Lin Feng's maid Tiu Tui is real or not. Seeing you once, will hit you once. Deep Qian looked like a calm face, but a fierce light appeared in his eyes. Young master, or still shouldn't. Tiula did not expect. Deep Qian said that he could do it. An hour ago, Deep Qian said that for her sake to regain the righteous way, now he will immediately fulfill his promise. At this moment, Yi Zan is obviously a little too impatient, so that Tiula is obviously a little uncomfortable. She instinctively refused. Young master, it's really nothing, although Tiu Tui hit me with a slap, but Tiula didn't hurt long ago, we still shouldn't pass. Tiu Tui now insists. Intending to follow Lam Fong's side, young master helps me to come out, Lam Fong will definitely protect Tiu Tui. At that time, if young master and Lam Fong come into conflict, Lin Feng is now the 9th level of qi condensation, young master you are not his opponent. We shouldn't go. Shouldn't go. Tiula shook her head back and forth like a drum, stopped and said. Lin Feng hurt me, it's insignificant. A gentleman's revenge. 10 years is not too late, I can completely wait for my strength to increase in the future, come and fight back. Dipper slowly opened his mouth. Unfortunately, Yi Zan changed the subject. This time, his master and servant, both of them, have been bullied even by my maidservant. Tiula, you remember well, as my maidservant Deep Qian, in the future, whoever hits your face, will fight back for me. Righteousness will be returned today, hatred if it is overnight, also it's tasteless. The sound from Yi Zan's mouth was extremely indifferent, and Yi Zan's body moved, and quickly walked out the door. Tui Van Tong in the center of the square has a radius of nearly 100 feet, especially vast and vast. This place is the central land of Tui Van Tong, the Mon Fai Canteen, the Mon Fat living room to declare the mission, the trading floor, the Kin Kin, all revolve around the center of the square. Normally, the square has a constant flow of people, each time at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, the center of the square is more and more crowded. Tui Van Tong outer disciples at the end of the month of competition, immediately celebrated in the center of the square. The competition is over. At the beginning of the month, there is a giant mokbai in the center of the square, which will once again carve out the rankings of the new outer disciples. Many disciples of Tui Van Tong at the beginning of the month, experts ran to the center of the square to check the ranking situation of outer disciples on wooden cards. Of course, when it comes to ranking outer sect disciples, most of them are outer sect disciples. Until the inner disciple inside Tui Van Tong. If they didn't go out to do missions, they would go to hide and seek refuge, rarely appearing on the central square. Even if it was an outer sect disciple at the end of the competition month, it would be difficult to attract the eyes of an inner sect disciple. Only the outer sect disciples who competed once a year at the end of the year could make these egotistical inner sect disciples care a little. Today is the beginning of the month. The situation of ranking outer sect disciples for a new time appeared on the wooden cards. Many disciples of Tui Van Tong outer sect, either near or far, were watching the discussion. Outside disciples ranked once again. Huang Peng is number 1 again. He was also the first outer sect disciple last month. In addition to this, it has already been won twice. If it is the next outer sect disciple at the end of the month of competition, he will still be the first, that is, 3 times in a row. Winning first prize, it's no small matter. The first outer sect disciples are able to get more and more attention. Huang Peng won first place, not surprising. He has already entered the 9th layer of qi condensation. Someone said that a month ago, he had tried the shock attack of Thong Apocalypse, but unfortunately failed. Give him a few more months. He is completely has hope to enter Thong Q Gun, let alone the end of competition month. Even if he competes every year after 3 months, he is very likely to have a brilliant aura. At the latest next year, he even has I hope to pass the inner sect disciples test, becoming an inner sect disciple within the Shui Yunzong. This is the real genius, we can't compare. Everyone groaned softly, their eyes filled with admiration. That's right, this time at the end of the month, in addition to Hoang Peng, there is one person whose performance is extremely dazzling. I know, it's Lin Feng. A month ago, Lin Feng was only ranked in the top 50 disciples of the outer sect, and his cultivation was only 7 layers of qi condensation. Unexpectedly this month, he fiercely entered the 9-level qi condensation realm and jumped. A disciple of the 8th rank in the outer sect, making rapid progress, shocking and disgusting. I heard that he was in the Demon Beast Mountain and obtained the high-grade Huang Gong technique. He can make such rapid progress, all thanks to that set of exercises. Hey, high-grade Imperial Law. If I had such a set of exercises, jumping into the top 10 outer disciples would be within my reach. Lin Feng this time can be considered as a dog yawning a fly, obtaining a high-grade Huang level cultivation technique, practicing normally, and surpassing Huang Peng is all a matter of sooner or later. In the future on the list of inner sect disciples, of course there is a place for him. I only regret Deep Qian. The Yi family and the Lam family have never been on good terms. Deep Qian and Lam Fong have always been in a fierce rivalry. This time at the end of the competition month, I heard that Deep Qian originally had the hope to attack the top 30, but unfortunately soon bumped into Lam Fong, was shot by Lam Fong with a palm, and finally stopped in the top 64. Deep Qian is currently afraid that he will still be in a coma. When will he wake up? It's all a mystery. Being enemies with Lam Fong, consider him unlucky. People discussed enthusiastically, in their words, many times mentioned Lam Fong and Deep Qian. For Lam Fong's miracle, most people are extremely fans. And for Yi Zhan, everyone basically agrees for the client. Quickly look, there are a few people coming out of the cafeteria over there, the one in front is really Lin Feng. An hour ago, I met him and a few friends who came to the men's canteen to celebrate, calculate the time, should go out now. It was everyone quietly discussing at this time. Not far from the other side of the Monfi cafeteria, a few teenagers quickly walked out. A leader of about 16 or 17 years old, with a strong body, handsome appearance, and a pair of eyes that sparkled with arrogance, was Lam Fong. Behind him, was a girl of 14, 15 years old, a body of blue clothes. Although her age was not very old, her chest was already swollen, although her appearance was not beautiful, but she carried a lake. No need to guess, she is Lam Fong's close concubine, Tiu Tui. Lam Fong quickly walked in front, Tiu Tui followed closely behind. Behind the two, there are a few teenagers and young women, both disciples of the outer sect of Tui Van Tong, of low rank, usually using Lam Fong like Thien Loi to fight there, who are Lam Fong's loyal henchmen. Lam Fong came out from inside the cafeteria, and turned a blind eye to the outer disciples around the square, raising his head and proudly passing by. Even the maidservant Tiu Tui behind him was a proud appearance. Huh, brat lady. Some people are disgruntled. Don't talk too much. If you are the top 10 outer disciple of the outer sect, you can also have such power. The vast majority of people don't dare to talk nonsense. Where Lam Fong went, those outer sect disciples instinctively gave way to a path, avoiding to one side. Lin Feng. Almost at the same time that Lin Feng considered himself to be able to proudly cross the square, a figure suddenly came out, tightly blocking in front of him. This is a 15-16-year-old boy, dressed in white. His body is a bit thin compared to Lin Feng, but his aura is like a mountain, firmly cutting in front of Lin Feng. Deep Qian. At the same time, seeing clearly the appearance of the teenager in front of him, Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. It turned out to be the defeat of the general at hand. Yi Qian, how was my position of one palm yesterday? Your luck is not bad. Didn't expect to be short for a day, and woke up again. I originally thought that this palm of mine can at least put you in a coma for 10 days. Looking back now, I seem to have a bit of mercy. Lin Feng stared at Deep Qian with both eyes, his eyes containing 7 parts neighing and 3 parts disdain. You have one palm, you will pay another day. Deep Qian also did not pay attention to Lam Fong. His eyes were gloomy, staring at the maidservant Tiu Tui behind Lam Fong. Are you Tiu Tui? An hour ago, in the center of the square, it was you that slaps my wife Tiula. Claiming to see Tiula once, hit once, is it also you? Deep Chen's language is bright, direct questioning. Tiu Tui was looked at by Deep Chen's cold eyes, instinctively shivering. However, thinking of having support for her family's young master, Lam Fong, Xiao Thai's strength was 10%, her neck stiffened, and loudly said, "What would happen if it was me?" Very good. Without waiting for Tiu Tui to finish a sentence, Deep Qian uttered cold words, directly interrupting Tiu Thai's voice. Take action to harm people, humiliate my maidservant, it seems that you didn't put me Yizan in your eyes at all. Currently, kneel down, accept, wrong. In Yizan's mouth, such 4 words suddenly came out. Roaring. Almost at the same time shouting Tiu Tui, Yi Qian moved his thoughts a little, and instantly entered the first level of battle will, endlessly proliferating, rising like a flame. War God 2 Luke. The first picture of War God 2 merges inside Deep Chen's body. Yi Qian seems to transform into a real war god, kicking Hong Hoang with his feet, hitting Kang Kuang. The power is endless. Endless fighting spirit is still like a ruined mountain. A large river flows backwards, strongly oppressing Tiu Thai's body. Tiu Thai's eyes widen, her face suddenly completely changed. Kneel, kneel, kneel. In her head resounded the 2 words, kneel down, like a ghost's heart, echoed in her ears. Young master saved your life. She shouted, knelt down on the ground, trembling. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I know it's wrong. Young master saved my life. Almost from Deep Chen's mouth came out 4 words, kneel down to admit wrong. Tiu Tui, who is Lam Fong's concubine, fell down directly. The whole body was glued to the ground. Like this scene appeared too quickly. Even though Lam Fong was standing in front of Tiu Tui, he couldn't stop it or even react in time. Deep Qian entered the scene. World War Intent First Floor. Qian will up. Like the greatest war godfather, Tiu Tui is just a maidservant of Lam Fong, has not trained through martial Dao Kong Fa. Facing Deep Qian, while panic is if facing the real god of war sweeping across the wilderness, blowing up the heavens. Under the crushing will of Yi Qian, she directly knelt on the ground, as a normal reaction. Still not aimed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng only vaguely felt that Yi Zan's momentum had changed in an instant. He didn't know, Yi Zan entered the first level of terror. Under his gaze, Deep Qian just shouted. Tiu Tui immediately fell down. How can it be? Lin Feng's eyes widened, showing a look of disbelief. Although Tiu Tui is not a martial artist, but good and bad, she followed Lam Fong in Tui Van Tong to live for a year or 2, and met countless powerful martial artists. Even though she was facing an inner disciple of the Thong Qiu realm level in the Tui Van sect, Tiu Tui was not too scared. However, at this time, facing the 7-layer Yi Zan condensed Qi realm, Yi Zan shouted softly, she directly fell. Such an expression is under a situation where the support is Lin Feng. Tiu Tui can't stand it like that, which makes Lam Fong both angry and afraid. In an instant, Lin Feng's face was so angry that it turned red. Deep Qian, dare to threaten my maidservant, you want to die. Lin Feng's eyes were bloodshot. He gritted his teeth, didn't care about the rules of the sect, directly moved his body. In an instant, he came in front of Yi Qian, stretched out his right hand, and strongly rushed to Yi Chen's chest. Grab it. Star mover. Seeing that Lam Fong attacked with one claw, Yi Chen's face was extremely calm. His left hand was like a flash of lightning, blocking the attack of Lam Fong's claws. Roaring. There was an explosion. Yi Zan's arms and Lin Feng's claws clashed violently. Yi Zan's body flickered for a moment, and Lin Feng directly took 3 or 4 steps back. Why is that? A look of surprise appeared on Lin Feng's face. What level of strength Deep Qian is, Lam Fong clearly understands. A day ago, the disciple of Tui Van Tong outer sect at the end of the month of competition, Lam Fong still fought with Deep Qian, using Lam Fong Ning's strength. 9 layers of Qi realm, simple suppression of Yi Zan. But now, less than a day has passed, Yi Zan and Lin Feng confront a move, of course, can push Lin Feng back a few steps. With such a performance, how can Lin Feng not be shocked? Not only was Lin Feng surprised, around the center of the square, the other outer disciples there were also incomparably shocked. It's Deep Qian, defeated at the hands of Lam Fong. One day ago he was defeated by Lam Fong, knocked out by a palm, and now he dares to appear in front of Lam Fong, scolding Lam Fong's maidservant. The most important thing is, Yi Qian once shouted loudly. The maidservant Lam Fong was directly afraid to fall to the ground. Even if Lam Fong took action, he was repelled by him. What's going on? Yi Zan is smoking ecstasy. The discussion was extremely surprising, in succession. Lin Feng and the surrounding outer disciples were all startled. The only one who was not frightened was Yi Qian. The first layer of battle will is indeed strong enough. Lin Feng's cultivation level is higher than mine. The level of the cultivation method is stronger than me. Normally speaking, confront me, you can easily crush me. But when I entered the first stage of the battle will, the power of the practice doubled in an instant. Based on my cultivation level of the 7 layers of qi condensation, relying on the middle grade Huang level internal gong, I also have direct ability. Next, let Lin Feng's cultivation base of qi condensation be 9 levels, and he will push back with his cultivation of the high grade Huang level internal gong. Deep Qian lamented the strong will of war. By relying solely on the first level of the battle will, war will rise. Yi Qian was able to break through the 2 subclasses, use low-level exercises against high-level exercises, and fight with Lam Fong. This is enough to demonstrate the great fighting spirit. It's only a pity that Yi Zan just passed through, and this body is still unfamiliar. Some martial skills can't be used at all. Although it is now possible to repel Lam Fong, but truly killing, I am afraid that it is still not Lam Fong's opponent. Fortunately, Deep Qian forced Tiu Tui to kneel, because Tiula demanded justice. The goal has been reached. There is no need to continue the conflict with Lam Fong. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qian shouted in his mouth. Lin Feng, Tui Van Tong forbids outer sect disciples to fight. You dare not look at the rules. Tui Van Tong forbade his fellow disciples to fight. Although there are conflicts, usually they are solved secretly, and when they go to the central square to fight, they are a little disdainful. Lam Fong originally wanted to continue to fight, but when he heard Deep Chen's shout, his heart was shocked, and he quickly stopped his body. Although he did not dare to take action, his eyes were still focused on Yi Zan. Okay, Lam Fong said well, but his eyes were extremely dark. Yi Zan, you are very good. Today's feud, I remember. After 3 months, it's the year-end competition day of the outer sect disciples. At that time, you and I will have a chance to fight. I Lam Fong swear, if I don't break your 2 dog legs. I Lam Fong swear not to be human. Lin Feng spat out extremely ferocious words. After 3 months, the year-end competition. Deep Chen's face was calm. Do not need. Deep Qian indifferently opened his mouth. 1 month later, under the end of the month of competition, you and me have a battle. Whoever loses, kneels on the ground to make amends. Dealing with characters like Lam Fong, in Deep Qian, it seems that it doesn't take 3 months. Waiting for me to get used to this body, accumulate some actual combat experience, and be able to easily suppress Lin Feng. Time of a month, more than enough. A month. Very good. Lin Feng closed his eyes. I'm afraid that if you can't enter the top 8 next month, you will be eliminated. This time at the end of the competition month, Deep Qian and Lam Fong met in the top 64 duel. According to the rules, the next time at the end of the month of competition, unless Deep Qian and Lam Fong simultaneously enter the top 8, otherwise they will not meet soon. Lam Fong said that Deep Qian could not enter the top 8. This time it was announced, after the last 3 months of the competition, a heroic decision was made. If I can't enter the top 8, I will lose. Not only do I kneel to apologize, but also automatically withdraw from the sect, never entering the range of the Water Cloud sect. Deep Qian said slowly. Very well, in a month, I will see you get out of the Water Cloud sect. Lam Fong threatened to say. In whose hands the deer died, it is not known yet. Deep Qian hugged his hands, as before, neither salty nor pale. Lin Feng didn't get any profit in his words. He glanced at Tiu Tui as he lay on the ground as before, angry in his heart. Boom, to a kick. Don't leave me. Go. Without waiting for Tiu Tui to crawl up, he coldly shouted, turned and left. Just a minute ago, Lam Fong was still proud, arrogant, but now, he is gray-faced, and his face is especially unsightly. Behind Deep Qian, Tiula looked at all the things that happened in front of him, still a little unbelievable. As soon as Deep Qian led her to this moment, she was still anxious in her heart, did not expect to see Deep Qian crushing Tiu Tui, forcing Lam Fong, using the strength of a strong person to help her regain justice. Recalling all that had just happened, Tiula only felt like a dream, a little confused. Seeing that the conflict between Deep Qian and Lam Fong ended with such a temporary ending, in the central square, all the disciples of the Water Cloud sect outer sect were shocked. How is it possible? Deep Chen's strength is clearly not comparable to Lam Fong. How can it be possible to stay inside a day as fast as the wind? Right in front of Lam Fong scolding Lam Fong's maid, and Lam Fong risking one's life and not falling to the bottom. How could Yi Zan have such strength? Could it be that he ate the violent Qi pill? Violent weapon Dan? It's possible. The good and bad Yi Qian is the son of the owner of the Yi family. Although the Yi family is a small family, a good violent Qi pill can still be bought. Ingesting the storm Qi Dan, the true Qi in the body in a short period of time strengthens by 5/10, can indeed let Yi Zan hold the strength against Lin Feng. I estimate, although Yi Zan did not have to use it. Violent Qi pill. It is estimated that using some kind of medicinal pill to increase strength in a short time, can only support Lin Feng at this time. Everyone talked quietly. It is possible to make a martial artist in a day's strength increase dramatically, except for the violent Qi pill. These outer sect disciples can't think of anything else that can do this. Among the crowd, there was only one person with unusual eyes. This is a girl, about 16 years old, dressed in ice blue, elegant and detached. She stood in the central corner of the square, just when Deep Qian and Lam Fong had a conflict, then she came, still not attracting too many people's attention. At this time, she had a pair of beautiful eyes staring at Deep Qian, her eyes shining slightly, not knowing what she was thinking. A moment later, she suddenly ran towards Yi Zan. Oh, it's Nam Kung Lam. Shui Yunzong is the 6th-ranked core disciple, Nam Kung's senior sister. She usually lives behind the mountain of hidden cultivation, rarely goes to the center of the square. How can she return this time? Probably coincidence. Quote. Quickly look. Nam Kung's senior sister took the initiative to go towards Deep Qian. Could it be that she and Deep Qian know each other? The appearance of the girl in Bang Lan clothes caused the outer disciples of Tui Van Tong to be around. But after she appeared, she took the initiative to go to the other side of Yi Qian, making everyone in the center of the square incomparably shocked. Nam Kung Lam. The girl in Bang Lam clothes walked towards her. Deep Qian had long noticed her. At the same time, he first recognized the identity of the other party. Nam Kung Lam, Tui Van Tong's core disciples ranked 6th, only 10. At the age of 6, she has also entered the post-production Thong Q Gun realm. In terms of strength, Nam Kung Lam is not the strongest disciple in Tui Van Tong, but in terms of talent and potential, she is undoubtedly the one. Tui Van Tong's existence is number 2. Thien Kai Kiu Nu is like that. In Tui Van Tong's highness up to now, even the first outer disciple Hoang Bang can't enter her Dharma eye. It goes without saying that Yi Zan has always performed normally. Nam Kung Lam suddenly walked towards his side, to the end of what he wanted. This made Yi Qian a bit unable to find a clue. You called Deep Qian? In the midst of Deep Chen's doubts, Nam Kung Lam walked in front of Deep Qian. That's right. Deep Qian met Nam Kung's senior sister. Deep Qian properly, facing Nam Kung Lam, clasped his hands to salute. You are very good, and have the ability to surpass 2 levels, repel the opponent. I have a little problem related to the martial arts aspect. I want to ask you for advice. Nam Kung Lam had a faint smile on his face and said to Deep Qian. What? Senior sister Nangong went to Deep Qian to ask for advice. How is that possible? It was at the same time that Nam Kung Lam's words had just come out. The entire center of the square was noisy and lively. Nam Kung Lam, looking to Deep Qian to ask about martial arts. One is the core disciple of the Tianji Qiu Nu, who is ranked in the top 6 places, and an ordinary outer sect disciple, but not even the 30th rank can enter. Even if it is to ask for a lesson, it is also Yi Qian who asks for a lesson in Nam Kung Lam. Even a bit cruel, Yi Qian is not even qualified to ask for a teacher in Nam Kung Lam. But now, Nam Kung Lam took the initiative to find Deep Qian and wanted to ask Yi Qian for advice. Seeing this scene, everyone around turned to stone. Prayer. Deep Qian was momentarily stunned, for Nam Kung Lam's movements this time also felt a little suspicious. Senior sister Nam Kung can say anything, she can say whatever she knows, but she doesn't dare to speak when asking for a teacher. Deep Chen's face was calm, and he said slowly. As such, Nam Kung Lam took 2 steps forward, close to Deep Qian. You just now, should have entered the first level of the battle will. Nam Kung Lam's eyes were bright, staring intently at Deep Qian, asking questions in a voice only 2 people could hear. The first level of the realm of war will rise. In a state like this, 1 year ago I was in the Demon Beast Mountain for testing. I once met a mysterious senior deploying. That senior said I was a genius. Being rich is not bad. Having a good relationship with him taught me some secrets to enter the first level of war will. I understood for a year, but it is difficult to reach this realm. With Lin Feng fighting, it seems to have entered a special state. This state, and the first level of battle will that I have seen the mysterious senior deploy, exactly the same. Nam Kung Lam said in a low voice. Nam Kung Lam brought this old story to his ears, Deep Chien, but in his heart was a little nervous. Revealed. War wool, in the entire wild ancient world, is considered an absolute luxury, and Yi Zan originally thought that there was no one in the entire Purple Sea Palace who had the ability to step into this realm. Within the scope of the Purple Sea Palace, you can freely deploy the realm of war. What I didn't expect was that when I entered the first level of battle willpower for the first time, I was recognized by others. This made Deep Chien shiver. Wild ancient world, crouching tiger, hidden dragon, I'm still a bit careless, I shouldn't have blatantly entered the first layer Warwill realm. In the future, even if you enter a state of war, you must be careful to hide it. I am currently entering a state of war willpower for the first time, and I am not yet mature. After practicing more, I will be able to do inner war will. Unless someone else has a higher level of fighting spirit than me. Otherwise, it will be difficult to detect. For Yi Zan, as long as you pay attention and want to hide your fighting spirit, the difficulty is not great. Only this time, Deep Chien entered a state of war, discovered by Nam Kung Lam, more or less troublesome. Yi Zan's mind quickly moved, thinking of ways to deal with it. War intent. What is this? Sorry, senior sister Nangong, I don't understand the will to fight. However, as soon as I faced Lam Fong, I remembered that Lam Fong had bullied me, once had a tantrum, while inadvertently seemed to enter a special state. Just don't know, is it? Senior sister refers to the state of war will. Deep Chien is clear that if he simply denied it, it would be difficult for him to deceive Nam Kung Lam. Because of that, frankly, half truth and half false, he said that he had unintentionally entered a state of war. Incidentally, Nam Kung Lam opened his mouth and smiled. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, you just entered the first level of the battle will. A year ago, I was in the Demon Beast Mountain Forest and saw the mysterious senior deploying his will to fight, although that senior taught me the secret to entering the state of war will, but unfortunately I still could not understand. Just now, I met you deploying the will to fight, letting the spiritual light flash in my mind, sometimes reaching the threshold of fighting spirit. War will. Nam Kung Lam said. No matter what, you helped me greatly. Nam Kung Lam said, turned his hand, and in his hand there was another exquisite wooden card. This thing was obtained by me since I was a child, it has no use now, give it to you as a thank you. Saying, Nam Kung Lam brought wood cards. Tang Kin Kak wood cards. At the same time, seeing the shape of this wooden card clearly, Deep Chien was a little scared. Tang Kin the command card, Tui Van Tong specially made the command card. Grasping the treasury, the command cards enter the treasury, you can stay in the Sutra Pavilion, and choose a martial art and practice at will. You are listening to Stories at Audio Good Stories, subscribe to the channel to support me. Tui Van Tong's cards of Tang Kin Kak are divided into 3 types. Distinguished as Mok by Tang Tu Kak, Non by Tang Kin Kak, Kim by Tang Kin Kak. Holding the Mok Leng Bai in hand, entering the Kin Kin Pavilion, you can freely choose a martial art or martial skill of the highest level of the royal high grade to practice. Holding Non Len Bai in hand, you can choose the highest martial technique of the highest quality Hoang grade. And Hoang Kim command card, you can choose the martial arts technique Huyan level low grade. Nam Kung Lam gave it to Deep Chien, who is Mok by Tang Tu Kak. Although it is the lowest level of the Tang dynasty, it is still possible to choose a martial art of the highest grade, for Deep Chien now practices the middle grade Hoang method Tui Van Quit. Come to say, the value of this post command cannot be doubted. Thank you, Master. At the same time, when he saw this Mok by Tang book, Deep Chien's eyes shone slightly. Without being polite, Yi Zan directly put this token away. A month later, Deep Chien wanted to fight Lin Feng once. At a critical time, he could practice more of a high-grade Huang class martial art, no doubt increasing his strength would help. Huge help. In general, this time you helped me solve a martial arts problem that has plagued me for a long time. In the future, if you have any difficulties, you can go to the base of the mountain to find me. Nam Kung Lam finished saying this sentence and left. It was not until Nam Kung Lam went far away, and around Tui Van Tong, this disciple recovered from the horror of the past. Looking at the back of Nam Kung Lam, everyone tacitly clicked their tongues. Senior sister Nangong, just now really asked Deep Chien to teach. Moreover, she seems to have a harvest. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given Yi Zan a token of the secret scriptures as a thank you. Moreover, he also promised that if Yi Zan had a difficult time, he could go to the back of the mountain to find her. Senior sister Nam Kung took the initiative to ask him for instruction. Hey Yi Zan, it's mysterious enough. A few female outer sect disciples' eyes sparkled as they secretly looked at Yi Zan. Deep Qian. But not far away, for a single eye staring at Yi Zan, his eyes were full of hatred. For the owner of this eye is Lam Fong, although he left just now, but did not wait to go far, he saw Nam Kung Lam actively looking for Yi Qian. After he was surprised, he also stopped walking, wanting to see what Nam Kung Lam was looking for with Yi Qian. As a result, he saw a scene he couldn't believe. Nam Kung Lam took the initiative to ask Yi Qian for advice, and finally under Yi Qian's direction seemed to have a harvest, and also gave Yi Zan a token. The Kin Kak. Now, everyone understands that Yi Qian and the core disciple of Nam Kung Lam have developed a relationship. If you want to provoke Yi Qian, you must consider yourself. Very good. Deep Qian, relying on a tree as big as Nam Kung's senior sister. Unfortunately, even though Nam Kung's senior sister helps, 1 month later, if you want to defeat me, you still don't have half a chance. A wooden stick in the course of the Tang dynasty, I can let you choose a high-grade Huang Gong practice, but with only one set of Huang rank high-grade exercises, you can't win against me. Lin Feng snorted coldly in his heart. His eyes narrowed slightly. Everyone thinks that a month ago when I was in the Demon Beast Mountain, I could make rapid progress with a set of high-grade Huang level exercises. What they don't know is, I obtained the cultivation technique. It's not the high-grade emperor at all, but the ultimate grade emperor. Lin Feng's mouth revealed a cold smile that was not easy to see. The ultimate grade royal cultivation technique. Each time the practice increased by 1 level, the power could increase by nearly 3/10. The ultimate grade emperor technique is much stronger than the high-grade Huang grade technique. Lam Fong a month ago, inside the Sun Lam Demon Beast, he got a set of ultimate grade Hoang level Pan Chi Quit. Now he can stay in a short compartment within a month, increasing like the wind, increasing to 2 consecutively. Subclass. Others all think that my cultivation is a high-grade Huang Gong technique. If it is Yi Zan also thinks so, a month later, he will definitely fail. Deeply thinking, Lam Fong did not stop, turned around and quickly left. The ultimate class Hoang Gong technique is Lam Fong's biggest trump card. Even if Deep Qian received the Mok Bai Tang Kin Pavilion and could choose to practice the high-grade Huang Gong practice, there was still a big difference between him and Lam Fong. That kind of difference is basically impossible to make up. In the blink of an eye, Nam Kung Lam and Lam Fong all left in turn. Yi Zan stood in the center of the square. Many people discussed enthusiastically about him, afraid of his alternate expression just now. A few female disciples of the outer sect of Tui Van Tong occasionally peeked at Deep Qian and talked quietly. Deep Qian was frightened by people staring at him and frowned slightly. Shaola, you go back first. I will go to the Kangjing Pavilion to see and choose a martial art or a martial skill to practice. Deep Qian gave Tiula a word, then prepared to escape. The Tui Van Tong Tang Kin Pavilion is located in the center of the western square, a total of 3 floors. The first floor sends martial arts techniques of the highest grade Hoang grade and below. The second floor sends the exercises of the highest grade Hoang grade martial skills. The third floor sent the martial arts technique of Huyan rank low grade. Until the martial arts of Vuong Truong level, high level, in Tui Van Tong, it is said to be top secret. Only the sect master and the elder can hold it, but it has not been accepted in the Kangkin. In Deep Chen's hand, he only had a wooden card of the Tangkin Pavilion, so he could only enter the first floor of the Golden Pavilion to choose martial arts techniques. Deep Qian alone left the center of the square and was about to reach the Jingjing Pavilion. The first floor is guarded by a sect elder over 60 years old. This guardian has a thin body, a pair of eyes that are strangely bright, vaguely visible, and the forehead on both sides of the Tai grave. Yang is tall and high, showing a very strong Truc Co cultivation. Yi Zan speculates that this elder's cultivation base is likely to surpass the Tongxiao realm and enter an even higher level. Entering the Kin Kak, Deep Qian held a wooden card and gave it to the elder's guardian. Oh, you can still go to Mok Bai Tang Kin when you're young, you're so good. Guardian elder received the wood card, looked at Yi Zan for a moment, praised in his mouth. Come on in. Remember, you can only choose martial arts exercises on the first floor, 2 times together is a limit. Within 2 hours, you can't choose martial arts techniques, which means this opportunity will expire. Guardian Elder reminded. Thank you Elder for reminding me. After that, Deep Qian said thank you, and immediately went to the first floor of the Tangjing Pavilion. The first floor is not small, a series of bookshelves neatly arranged. Each time on the shelf, there are at least 20 copies of martial arts books. In the entire first floor of the archives, the number of martial arts techniques exceeds 500. 1 month later, I want to fight Lin Feng once. If I can choose a martial art of the highest grade, it will definitely be of great help to me. Deep Qian casually glanced at the bookshelf on the first floor, and thought in his heart. However, this body of mine seems to be more suitable for practicing the fire elemental technique. Before practicing Tui Van Quit, it was because I couldn't choose a better practice. Shui Yun Quit is a set of water-based exercises. I practiced for 2 years, and the efficiency is not very high. If I can choose a fire elemental practice that is more suitable for me to practice, the efficiency of cultivation will definitely increase on a large scale. Deep Qian said quietly. In the end, choose a high-grade Hoang martial skill, or still choose a set of fire-type martial arts. Deep Qian fell into a dilemma. If you choose a high-grade Huang level martial skill, your strength will definitely be able to increase in a short time. Select the fire system method. The way to fight Lin Feng in one match only takes a month, temporarily replacing the practice. Not only will the strength not increase, even the ability to temporarily decrease. Deep Qian quickly pondered, weighed more than the truth, and made the best choice. Choose fire-type martial arts. Just pondering for a moment, Deep Qian immediately made a decision. Select the fire method. The first step is wrong, the next step will be wrong. Before Yi Zan chose the wrong practice method, he couldn't close his eyes and continue on this road. If sooner or later it is necessary to change the practice, it is better to change it early than to change it late. It can't be because a month later, if you want to fight with Lam Fong, you can't look ahead, don't dare to make a decision, right? After thinking through this point, Yi Zan felt a relaxed body. If you change the practice, you will change the practice. With the first level of fighting spirit as a support, even if I temporarily change the practice, 1 month later, I can defeat Lin Feng. Deep Qian has great confidence in himself. In his previous life, Yi Zan was born in a void martial age, and was searching for martial arts with all his heart, but there was no door to enter. In this life, coming to this wild ancient world, with martial arts as the first, the great advantage is to hold War God to Luke, like that. Yi Qian is determined to definitely step up to the highest peak of martial arts, live to a new age. Special life. If you have such a goal, you need to be honest. One step up and down, there can be no mistake. The problem on martial arts, do not allow half a point to pass the speaker. There is a mistake in the practice of the law, so naturally it must be changed. The left on the bookshelf is mainly martial arts, the right side is the practice, go to the right and look. After making a decision, Yi Zan directly ignored martial arts, went straight to the front right of the bookshelf, flipped through the book of exercises. Tomb of Ba Kong, the cultivation method of the royal high grade, cultivates to the highest level, has the ability to condense Ling Ba Gen Qi in the body, extremely powerful. Water Storm Jutsu, high grade Huang Gong technique, true Qi unleashes great power. Guide to Glass Qi, the royal grade high grade Gong, gentle, non-stop Qi. Deep Qian flipped through the book of exercises, and discovered that the high-grade Huang level exercises at Tui Van Tong were on the first floor, most of which were of the water type. Tui Van Tong took the 2 words, Tui Van, to name it. Obviously above the unique water system, the legend of Tui Van Tong, the ancestor, was a powerful master who practiced the water system. There are also other attribute exercises, but the quantity is extremely small, especially the fire-type exercises, and the water-type exercises are very similar. The entire first floor of the archives, I'm afraid I can't find a few sets. Bao Yan Gong, middle grade Huang Gong technique, powerful bursting force, true Qi brings in the burning effect. Finally, Deep Qian found a set of middle grade Huang Gong exercises. Bao Yan Gong is already the best set of fire elemental techniques inside. Quit of the same level, compared to those Tomb of Ba Kong, Tui Bao Quit, are all 1 level inferior, but Deep Qian still does not hesitate to choose the other set of exercises. It's not that the higher the level, the stronger, the strongest one is suitable for oneself. Seeing that the 2 deadlines had passed, Yi Zan had a book in his hand, Bao Yan Gong, and returned to the entrance to the Tangjing Pavilion. Violent Flame Gong, fire-type martial arts. Guardian Elder saw that Yi Zan selected a set of fire-type exercises, and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Kid, you must have practiced before Tui Van Quit, right? Tui Van Quit, even though it is a basic practice, you cultivate to a profound realm, so it is extremely powerful. You cultivate. Practicing Tui Van Quit should have a period of 2 years, changing the practice, otherwise it is not wise. Young people want to endure boredom, with a hammer and a wooden pestle. In the end, they want to eat at a disadvantage. Guardian Elder reminded in a low voice. Yi Qian knows that it is a good idea to protect the elder, but still insists on his opinion. Thank you, Elder, for reminding me, but juniors think that it is the best practice that suits you. This set violent flame gong is probably the best fit for me. Alright. Guardian Elder didn't say anything more. When you come back, take the practice by heart and return it within 10 days. Remember, the practice of the practice does not allow disclosure, otherwise the discipline will be dealt with. Guardian Elder said. Clear legacy. Dipper nodded. After saying goodbye to the Guardian Elder, Yi Zan quickly left. Young people today, their energy is too weak. Watching Deep Qian leave, Guardian Elder shook his head and lamented. One set Shui Yunju has only practiced half, but still wants to practice it Bao Yan Gong. It doesn't take long. This kid is afraid to give up the other set of exercises directly. Guardian Elder said quietly. Yi Zan left the Jingjing Pavilion, did not stay in the center of the square for a long time, and returned directly to his own small courtyard. Instructing Tiula not to disturb himself, Deep Qian entered his room, closed the door, and prepared to convert Bao Bin Kong. This is considered as the true meaning of Yi Qian on his first practice of martial Dao Gong Fa. Although Yi Qian had never practiced any martial arts in his previous life, he has also studied certain meridians in the human body. Prize. Bao Yan Truc Co is born in Dantian. Do Tu Tai Yin Kin, enter Tu Tai Duong Kin, transport with the same pulse, carry the pulse. Flipping through the book Bao Yan Gong, Deep Qian immediately began to practice. Bao Yan Gong is divided into 7 floors in total. Cultivating to the highest level of the 7th layer, the power of Truc Co is absolute. While waving his hand, he carries an extremely hot pyrotechnic force. Together with the enemy, when fighting, the Truc Co of storm flame enters the enemy's body, which can cause severe damage to the enemy's meridians that cannot be restored. In general, it is considered as a fire-type exercise that is equivalent to overbearing. Of course, despite its overwhelming power, the difficulty of this practice is also very great. Even compared to the same level Tui Van Quit in cultivation, the difficulty is even higher. It is difficult for ordinary martial artists to enter the first level in 3 or 4 months. It is difficult for them to enter the second level in 1 or 2 years. If you want to cultivate to the 3rd level, it will take time for 3-5 years. For example, if you want to cultivate to the highest level of the 7th level, it usually takes decades. Even though martial artists practice this practice, usually they only cultivate to the 3rd or 4th level, and wait until they step into the Tongqiao realm. After that, they will change to higher level exercises to practice. Although Yi Zan chose this practice, he himself did not know how long it would take him to truly practice this practice. According to the method of cultivation Bao Yan Gong, Yi Qian held his breath and stopped, crossing his legs to practice. A minute later, the qi produced in the dantian, a ray of true qi bursting with a dry and hot aura, proliferated. Yi Zan led this ray of true flame qi, which circulated within the meridians of the body. 1 celestial. 2 chu thien. 3 chu thien. As Yi Zan continued to move, this true qi of storm flame gradually grew stronger. Initially like a small stream, gradually converged into a small river. Not only the total output increased, the flow rate was also faster and faster. In the beginning, Yi Zan spent half an hour before reluctantly letting Bao Yan Truc Co transport a cycle of heaven. Gradually, Yi Zan spent a minute, was able to transport a cycle of heaven. Unconsciously, the sun sets in Tay Sun. Yi Zan is still in a state of cultivation as before. In the blink of an eye, the night was over. Early in the morning, when the first rays of sunlight entered the room, Deep Qian finally escaped from the cultivation state inside. One afternoon, in addition to a whole night, Yi Qian brought Bao Yan decision all the time to transport 7x749 Chu Thien. In the body, the true qi of storm flame had a bit of scale. Fiery true qi. Deep Qian sat cross-legged on the bed, eyes open, right hand forward as fast as lightning, swinging a fist. Roaring. A surge of true qi from Deep Qian's right hand shot out quickly, rubbing the air, making a deep echo. In the surrounding air there was a smoky smell of burning. The scale of my current storm flame true qi, it seems, has reached the first level of fire flame gong. Deep Qian frowned slightly. A second later, joy appeared in his eyes. One night, cultivate the first stage Bao Yan Gong. In just one night, he trained to become the first layer Bao Yan Gong, and Yi Zan's cultivation speed could be said to be terrifying. This matter can only be said that Yi Zan and this set of fire-type exercises are extremely suitable, practice with little and much effect to achieve such cultivation results. It must be known that in the past, the cultivation of Deep Chien Tui Van Quit was not as simple as now. It took 2 months to become the first layer, only to spend 8 months to practice the second stage. Until then, he is currently cultivating for 2 years, but he has barely entered the third level realm. Currently practicing Bao Yan Gong, the absolute efficiency has increased several times. 1 night to practice becoming the first floor. 3 days at most, you can practice to the second layer. In 10 days, you can practice to the third layer. Yi Zan calculated his cultivation speed in his heart. Of course, after the third stage, it is estimated that the speed of one's cultivation will slow down. Anyway, now that I am cultivating at a fast pace, not only is the practice more suitable for me, there is also an important reason. Then, I have already cultivated myself Shui Yunju to the next level. Third, put down a relatively solid base. On this basis, cultivation Bao Yan Gong only now has this terrifying speed. After cultivating to the third level, cultivate a little further, the speed is naturally a bit slower. Of course, even though it's slow, it's definitely better than cultivation Tui Van Quit. The faster it is, the higher the efficiency. Take a break, continue to practice. At this time, the sun was high, and Deep Chien felt his stomach rumbling, a little hungry. Deep Chien has not yet gone to the Mon Fai canteen to eat, but rather let the maidservant Tiula help her go to the cafeteria to buy some food to take home. Rush after eating, continue to cultivate. Yi Zan is currently the 7th level of qi condensation. Qi condensation, as the name implies, in the cultivation method in this realm is mainly condensing true qi. The more true qi condenses, the higher the cultivation base, the stronger the strength. Before Deep Chien practiced Tui Van Quit, he had accumulated a lot of true qi in his body Tui Van Quit. This time, when he changed his cultivation Bao Yan Gong, in the process of cultivation, Deep Chien discovered that, according to himself, he was constantly moving Bao Yan Gong, and the true qi Tui Van Quit in his body naturally quickly changed. Turned into Bao Vien Kong, with equal true qi. After waiting for true qi Tui Van Quit to be completely transformed into true qi Bao Yan Gong true qi, Deep Chen's body no longer had half a point Tui Van Quit left traces, truly completing the transformation goal. Public law. Time passed slowly. 1 day. 2 days. On the 3rd day at noon, Yi Zan smoothly brought Bao Yan Gong cultivation to the 2nd level. On the 5th day of twilight, Yi Zan smoothly raised Bao Yan Gong to the 3rd level. Early 9th day. Inside Deep Chen's room, Deep Chien sat cross-legged on the bed, constantly running Bao Yan Gong exercises. According to himself, every time he took a breath, the extremely hot aura shot out from Yi Zan's nose and mouth, and was quickly sucked in. This shows that inside Deep Chen's body, he has accumulated a large amount of fire system Bao Yan Gong true qi. 1 day Chu Tien. 2 Chu Thien. 3 Chu Thien. In Yi Zan's body, Yi Zan's true qi storm flame was moving at an extremely fast speed of 64 Zhou Tien. Roaring. Suddenly, a large amount of extremely hot true qi erupted from inside Yi Zan's body. This extremely hot true qi rubbed the air in the room, making a sound like a firecracker exploding, and the rumbling echoes inside. Yi Zan's room windows were almost all burned, showing a black burn mark. Outside of true qi, have I cultivated the 4th level blood flame gong? Yi Zan's half-closed eyes quickly opened his eyes full of excitement. In less than 10 days, refine the 4th layer Bao Yan Gong. If it is the first 3 layers of cultivation, the main reason is that Yi Zan's foundation is solid, then in less than 5 days, he will be able to practice the 4th layer, Bao Yan Gong, and it can only be said that Yi Zan practices the exercises. Fire system, indeed has extremely high talent. Bao Yan true qi is in the body, compared to 10 days ago, Shui Yunju's true qi in the body is just a lot more. Continue like this, it doesn't take long, I can enter the 8th level of qi condensation, and even the 9th level. Deep Chien said quietly. The 4th stage of the practice Bao Yan Gong shows that Deep Chien successfully converted the practice. Today is the last day of the 10-day period, so it's time to return this book Bao Yan Gong. Yi Zan suddenly remembered. Bao Yan Gong, the practice needs to be returned within 10 days to the Tangjing Pavilion. Today is the last day and cannot be extended. Thinking of this, Yi Zan quickly stood up, pushed the door of the room, and quickly walked out. Tiula had already prepared breakfast carefully. Quickly after eating, Deep Chien immediately went to the Tang Kin Kak sect. Arriving at the Kin Kin, Deep Qian brought Bao Bian Kong the practice to protect the elder. Hey Bao Yan Gong, did you practice it? Guardian elder still remembers Deep Qian, received the book Bao Yan Gong casually asked. Understanding a little secret, Deep Qian answered casually. His own cultivation speed Bao Yan Gong can be said to be terrifying. Yi Zan does not want to be exposed. After saying this sentence, he said goodbye to the guardian elder, and quickly left. A secret point of understanding. Ah. Looking at the back of Yi Zan leaving, the elder guardian smiled and shook his head. Converting the exercises, how difficult is it? A small outer disciple, shortening the time by 10 days, how can you easily convert from Tui Van Quit to convert Bao Yan Gong? This guy is clearly a boiled duck. Strong-mouthed, it is estimated that he failed in his cultivation experiment Bao Yan Gong and soon gave up this practice. Exclamation mark quote. Guardian elder shook his head and lamented softly, a face full of regret and hatred. For the guardian elder's regret, Yi Zan naturally didn't care at all. Leaving the Jingjing pavilion, Deep Qian immediately returned to the small house where he stayed. I have completely solved the problem of the practice, but in order to win against Lam Fong at the end of the month, it does not only require powerful exercises, but also must be proficient in a few martial arts techniques. Deep Qian first practiced several martial arts. The highest level is a set of Huang level middle grade, Fu Ho Qian. Fuck Ho Qian has a total of 4 moves, distinguished as Vuong Truong, Cannon Qian, Kiki Spiral, Tiger Bao Long Yin. The first 3 moves belong to the common moves, the 4th move, Hu Bao Long Yin, but is the ultimate move inside Fu Hu Quan. From the time when Yi Qian passed through, he basically trained into the Fu Hu Quan suit. Only the 4th move Tiger Robe Long Yin used was not good at it, he couldn't bring out the full power of this one killer move. Now that Yi Zan has passed through, although inheriting all the memories of this body, vaguely remembers the secret to using this martial skill, but to really apply it in real combat, it still needs a lot of practice. Only 20 days to the end of the competition month. No time to practice other martial arts. If you can master this subject of Fu Hu Quan, it should be enough to deal with Lin Feng. Deep Qian said quietly. Fu Ho Qian looks like a low-level martial skill, only Hoang level middle grade. But Deep Qian vaguely remembered, opposite Fu Hu Qian, there was also a martial art, Hang Long Palm. Fuck Ho Qian is a middle grade Hoang, Hang Long, but reaches the level of Earth level high grade. One is a low-level martial skill, the other is an excellent level of learning. The 2 martial arts are so far apart that people don't understand. Yi Zan has a feeling, Fu Hu Quan martial arts should not be so simple. Tui Van Tong behind the mountain. Tui Van Tong leans back on the demon beast Sun Lam. Behind the mountain the terrain is extremely complicated. There are many places that are extremely mysterious. Normally Tui Van Tong's disciples practice martial arts, all love to run to the side. Behind this mountain, as strong as Tui Van Tong is Nam Kung Lam, one of the core disciples, also in the back of the mountain, occupying a mysterious mountain place, in which there is hidden cultivation. At midday, Deep Qian went inside a mysterious valley behind Tui Van Tong Mountain, looked around a little, and saw that all 4 sides were quiet. Then he began to practice his strongest martial skill today, the Law of the Tiger. Taking a deep breath, Yi Zan transported the true qi of the storm flame gong in his body. Air, mobile, export rights. Yi Qian constantly repeats this move. Deploying is the first move in the Fu Hu Qian law, also the most important move, Vuong Truong. Vuong Truong is considered an attack technique inside Fu Hu Qian law, but also has a certain defensive effect. At the same time when the enemy attacks himself, he can use this move to block the attack of the enemy. Yi Qian continuously performed 300 or 400 times the move. Hung Chuang, it felt like the body's memory for this move had already been recalled, so using this move became more and more proficient. After he finished, he stopped and began to practice the second move inside the Fu Hu boxing, Cannon Fist. If it is said that Vuong Truong is considered a single attack technique, then Cannon Qian is an absolute attack technique. The power of the argument is at least twice higher than that of Vuong Truong. Just like before, practicing several hundred times, Deep Qian just started practicing the third move of Fu Hu Fist, Spiral Qi. This is a move that needs to be coordinated with the true qi in the body to deploy. The stronger the true qi, the greater the power of the move. One after another, the qi spiral shot out from Yi Qian's hand, and hit a dry big tree in front, leaving behind one after another burning traces. Compared with Tui Van Quie's Truc Chi, using this Truc Chi of the fire flame gong to urge a spiral Chi move, the power is unquestionably greater. Just like that, Yi Qian constantly practiced these three moves inside Fu Hu Qian, accidentally intermingling with one final killing move, Tiger Robe Long Yin. Time passed quickly. Yi Zan left early and returned late, practicing for 5 days in a row. Roaring. Inside the mysterious valley, Deep Qian punched a punch. The qi shot out from the hand, the true qi quickly released, and the friction of the air made a roar like a tiger roar. The next second, Yi Zan's true qi quickly shot to the outside, a rumbling sound, suddenly exploded, producing endless violent power. Cracks. With a crisp sound, in front of Deep Qian, a tree as big as the mouth of a bull was hit by the aura of this punch, and directly blocked it. On the root, there are vague traces of burning. Tiger Pao Long Yin, this one move is indeed extremely powerful. Just look at this move, it can be compared with the power of the high-grade Huang martial arts. Deep Qian took a deep breath, glanced at the broken tree in front of his eyes, and thought in his heart. Just deployed by himself, it is Fu Ho Qian's ultimate move, Tiger Bao Long Yin. This shameless move is Fu Hu Quan's ultimate move, containing the explosive aura, the absolute power, and the combination of the true qi of the fire flame gong. More like a tiger with more wings, the power can at least increase by 3/10. Although Fu Hu Qian is a middle-grade Huang level martial arts skill, the power of this one move is still at the level of Huang level upper grade. I used the move Fu Hu Qian, Wan Chuan, Cannon Qian, Spiral Qi, Tiger Bao Long Yin. 4 moves passed, it seems that the craving is not over yet. Dipper thought silently. Could it be, behind Fu Hu Quan, there are more moves? Deep Qian vaguely feels that the real Fu Hu Quan is not just 4 moves. Wan Chuang, Cannon Fist and Spiral Qi seem to be just the basis of this martial art. The 4th move, Tiger Robe Long Yin, is the real martial art move. After this 4th move, Fu Hu Qian must also have a move, complete, and absolutely not just such a simple middle-grade Huang level. Regrettable. In such a sect of the 9-grade Tui Van Tong, truly having the ability to comprehend the essence of the 4th move, Fu Ho Qian, are as rare as autumn leaves. Wanting to research Fu Hu Quan's rear moves, it's almost impossible. Let's practice these 4 moves first. Deep Qian is not a dreamer, temporarily having the ability to practice the first 4 moves of Fu Hu Quan is enough. Training doesn't count. The most important thing is to have the ability to apply in real combat. Tui Van Tong leaned back on the Sun Lam Demon Beast. Even, Tui Van Tong behind the mountain, was considered the border area of the Sun Lam Monster Beast. The border area of the Mountain Demon Beast often has low-level demon beasts passing by, weak in strength, only equivalent to a martial artist of the 1st or 2nd level of condensation. Early stage. With this monster, I should be able to quickly increase my actual combat ability. Deep Chen's eyes sparkled, staring at the mountain demon beast in front of him. Into the mountains. The next moment, Yi Zan made a decision, his body moved slightly, and entered the mountains ahead. Time goes by quickly day by day. In the blink of an eye, the end of the month has arrived. The border area of the mountain demon beast, in a dense forest. Hooray! Hooray! The sound of love beasts came, consecutively. A 15 or 16-year-old boy paced back and forth in the midst of a group of Tan Tit Lang, demonic beasts. His hands quickly struck out one punch at a time, and Tan Tai Lang continuously hit the move. Screaming loudly, the straight body flew back out, either fell on the hard ground, or hit the dry tree. All were bleeding from the mouth and nose, going to a haunted house. Tan Tai Lang is just a level 1 demon beast. His strength is only equivalent to the 3-layer Qi condensation martial artist. The strongest strength of the Wolf King is only the 7 or 8-layer Qi condensation realm. However, Tan Tat Lang often joins groups and groups, dozens of children, even more than 100 at the same time acting. It is martial artist Thong Q Gun who encounters such a group of Tan Tat Lang and must stay far away. And that boy is only about 7 levels of condensing Qi realm cultivation. In a group of Jin Shi Lang, he is advancing as usual. Although the power of his fist moves is not too great, it is extremely accurate. Every time he swings his fist, he can accurately hit the weak spot of a Tan Tai wolf. In the blink of an eye, the dozens of commoners Tan Tat Lang were slaughtered and almost disappeared. Tiger Bao Long Yin. In the end, Lang Wang immediately wanted to run away, but was quickly chased by the teenager, fiercely punched in the waist, and directly vomited blood and died. Fu Hu Quan these 4 moves, finally understand the truth. The teenager is Deep Qian. Entering the Demon Beast Mountain for half a month, Yi Qian encountered many kinds of demon beasts with 7 or 8 types. There is Hak Van Hung, there is Iron Bei Da Tru, and there are Lao Nia Hak Tiger whose strength can be compared to the early stage martial artist Thong Q Gun. But really let Deep Qian bring Fu Ho Qian to play very smoothly, or still this is a group of Tan Tat Lang. With this group of Tan Tik Lang, each punch was extremely practical and accurate, even though it was Wan Chuang, the main pillar of the Canon Qian, it played a great role. After this battle, Deep Qian finally truly understood the morality of Fu Ho Qian. Tomorrow will be the end of competition month. Calculating a little time, Deep Qian suddenly discovered, unknowingly, that he had entered the Beast Mountain for half a month, only 1 day from the end of this month's competition. So it's time to go back. Deep Qian's body moved slightly, and he stepped on the way back. Tui Van Tong, in the center of the square, the Dik Jian arena made of stone has been completed. Tui Van Tong Outer Gate disciples have several thousand disciples, who have officially announced themselves to participate in the end-of-month competition, but there are only more than 200 people. Most outer disciples cultivate in the Qi condensation realm of 5 or less levels, and even if they participate in the month-end competition, they can't get the order. There are still a few outer disciples who have entered the Thong Q realm, preparing to attack the inner sect disciples to take the test. At the end of the month of competition, they despise participating, only at the end of the year, the masters are hidden inside. Only these outer disciples will take action. Tomorrow is the last day of the month of competition. Many disciples of Tui Van Tong outside the world gathered in the center of the square to discuss the coming end of the month of competition. This time at the end of the month of competition, I wonder if Hoang Bang can finish 3 times and claim the top spot. Towards the end of the competition year, there will probably be a black horse appearing on this competition month end. Under the Dik Jian arena, a few disciples of Tui Van Tong outer sect talked enthusiastically, discussing this time at the end of the month which competition is worth watching. Hoang Peng is constantly at the top of the list. The black horse goes back and forth. You guys talk about these things. You are too careless. This time at the end of the month of competition, it is really worth watching. It is Deep Qian and Lam Fong that bet in this game. At that time, someone said, this bet is certainly worth paying attention to, but unfortunately, Lam Fong's advantage is too great. In the end the result is clear. No surprises, Yi Qian is just afraid that he wants to fail miserably. Someone shook their heads slightly. You are listening to Stories at Audio Good Stories. Subscribe to the channel to support me. End of episode 1. You are listening to the story at Audio Good Stories. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the track to receive the latest story collections.